What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the No Job Podcast, where we believe that everybody has to make a living, but nobody has to have a job. We believe that work is about more than just a paycheck. It's about using your energy and your passion in alignment with your values to build or to contribute to something that is important to you, to something that you think is meaningful. And that's what we're all about. But a lot of us think that we need our dumb jobs because they're solving some sort of problem for us. No, a real problem, a big problem, the problem of how to pay bills, because that's important too, right? You can be as passionate as you want to. You also got to be able to bring home something at the end of the day to support yourself. And I get that. I would never neglect that responsibility to ourselves or to our families. I'd never deny it. But we have to admit, even if our jobs are solving one problem, our stupid jobs, our meaningless jobs, even if they're solving one problem, they're creating a whole lot of others. We have to be honest about that too. And you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the anxiety. I'm talking about the dread. I'm talking about the gloomy cloud that's floating over your head, over every aspect of your life. No matter how good of a time you're having, it's ruined because you know, your heart knows that you're no more, at maximum, you're no more than 48 hours away from going back to hell again, going back to the job. So don't get ahead of yourself. Don't quit your job today or tomorrow unless that's the right thing to do for you. I'm not telling you to do that blind. I'm not telling you to do that off rip. But you do need to start working, not fantasizing about, but working a plan to get you from where you are to where you need to be, to get you to a place where you're living life and doing work and making a living on your own terms. Because even if your dumb job is necessary for a period of time, it needs to be temporary. This is how we have to think about our dumb jobs. Possibly necessary, but gotta be temporary. But in the meantime, I understand that it's very tough. I get it. I've been really going through it the past 2 weeks. It's very hard. So today's episode is all about dealing with your dumb job for the period of time that it is necessary and no longer. So we are going to make money doing the kind of work that we love. This is just a step in the process. But while we're here, while we're in this trial and while we're in this storm, we're going to talk today about how to survive, how to live, how to keep your spirit alive, how not to lose heart, how to keep your courage, how to keep your personality, how not to let your lame, uninspiring job turn you into a lame and uninspiring person. Let's get down to business. This is the No Job Podcast. So I'm looking at this graphic that producer Marv sent me. You know Marv from his episode on the podcast, shoots the show, edits the sound. Basically everything you see and hear, he's a part of. And he sent me this graphic because he knows my heart. He knows the heart of the show. And the graphic is about hearts, actually. It's about heart attacks. And you might have heard this before, but think of it. Think about this. It says when researchers looked at the days of the week, most heart attacks occurred on Mondays and the least occurred on Saturdays. You know exactly where this is going. And it said, in fact, the risk of getting a heart attack was 11% higher on Monday than on any other day from Tuesday to Friday. Why is that? I don't think you have to be a doctor to understand why that is. It's because of the dread. It's because of the stress of knowing you're going back into that office to deal with all the BS that doesn't mean anything to you. And you feel like you have to because you need a paycheck. And it's like hell on earth. Living outside of purpose, living just to be able to continue living and breathing. Your heart can't take it, man. It's not how human beings were meant to live. I said in a previous episode that work is the method that God uses to bring things that he wants into this world. And we people are the vessels that perform that labor for God. So whenever you are detached from that purpose, that specific purpose for which God made you, the depression's going to set in. The anxiety is going to set in. The despair is going to set in. The stress is going to overwhelm you because you don't know what you're doing it all for, because fighting to live and breathe just isn't enough. You have to be doing something for a reason. And here comes the heart attack. And when I was thinking about dumb jobs, a dumb job is what I call, because the problem isn't getting paid to do work for somebody else. It's only a problem when you're doing it and it has no meaning for you. It doesn't, If somebody else will pay you to work for God, that's fine. Take the paycheck. I sure would if I could find the kind of profession that would do that for me. That's cool. But don't be working just for money, because it'll take the life out of you, both literally and figuratively. Anyway, when I was thinking about the idea of a job, I said in the intro, solving one problem, paying some bills, but creating others, stress and anxiety. And then I'm reading about the heart attack thing. And you know what a dumb job reminds me of? Do you know what something else is that'll solve one problem, but create a whole lot of others that could potentially kill you? See, if you don't have these things in your life, then you might not think of it right away. And if you don't have any family members on these things, then it might not jump to mind. But I know once I say what it is, you're going to get it because you've at least seen or heard commercials for them. I'm talking about prescription drugs. Prescription drugs. Have you ever seen those commercials for a drug that may keep your sugar levels in check, but cause strokes? Have you ever seen a medication that might help keep your pain at ease, but you could become addicted and lose every relationship and valuable thing you have in your life? Have you ever heard of medications that are supposed to keep your asthma at bay, but can cause heart attacks? Heart attacks, excuse me. I'm tripping right now. I'm getting upset thinking about this. And this is what a job is in our life, because some of those medications can be necessary at times. I'm not a medical doctor, and what I'm saying in no way constitutes medical advice. But the ideal is never to be on them long term if it is at all possible. And that's exactly how I want to look at jobs. Dumb jobs, jobs that don't have meaning to you. It could be possible that you need it to sustain your life right now for the moment, while you're in the emergency room, while you're in the hospital. But the idea is to get out the emergency room, and nobody is supposed to live in the hospital. You are supposed to get better. You are supposed to get well. You're supposed to consume a balanced diet. You're supposed to exercise. You're supposed to do your checkups to make sure everything's going well. You're supposed to see your therapist. There's all these things that you're supposed to do. Why? Because even though it's harder than popping a pill, long term, you'll be better off because you're not having all the side effects that these prescriptions give us. And if a job is a medication, what are some of the side effects to your dumb job? So while your bills might be paid, right? You might have anxiety, which could even lead to a heart attack. You might endure the constant nagging feeling that you are missing your calling in life, that you are living and breathing precious air, moving through precious time, God-given gifts, and wasting it because you're not even doing what you were sent here to do. You're off mission. You're AWOL. You're on the run. You're living life on the run. You live your life on the run from what you spend most of your hours doing. You become a fugitive in your own life. Do you think God put you here to feel like a fugitive? Do you think God created you to be imprisoned? Whether internally or externally. God created us to live and to do work for His sake, not to live just to be able to eat and to breathe. Again, if a job is the prescription, I'm thinking the side effects are, besides the despair, besides a constant bad mood, besides a feeling of meaninglessness, you've also got the symptoms in your body. Everything that Pepto-Bismol takes care of, your job adds to your life. Headache, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. It all happens when you abandon your purpose and you have no plans to get out of triage and to start living life the way that you were meant to. So we're going to talk about in this segment some practical steps we can take. Some practical steps we can take to wean ourselves off of the medication of a dumb job, and at the same time, every moment that we're there, to survive, to thrive, to combat the forces that are working against us. Sometimes when people have debilitating diseases, they're encouraged to exercise. Why? Because their muscles and body are being attacked and they're being instructed to build it up, to be on offense and not just wait for the storm to come to them. And this is what we're going to learn to do today. The first step, the first practical step to surviving the storm and beginning to wean yourself off the prescription job, the prescription drug of a dumb job, is to wake up and go to sleep on your own terms. And I mean that literally. Rise up in the morning at a time that you determined. Don't lay in bed until the last minute possible, until you feel like you can get up and get to work just barely on time. But if the dumb job is bad, Naj, then why would I want to get there anywhere sooner than I have to? Why would I want to wake up from my sleep any sooner than I had to if I'm just going to that dumb job? Because as long as you're letting that job keep you in bed longer than you need to be or longer than you should be, that job owns you. That job is your master. That job is on your back. That job is on your head. Go to sleep and wake up at a time you determined. I remember 2 dumb jobs ago, I used to work in local government. I used to stay up all night watching whatever I could find on TV. Most of the time it was stupid episodes of Family Guy. I would just stay up all night because I just wanted to prolong the feeling and to stave off the dread of having to go back to work in the morning, even though it made me tired, even though it made me feel worse throughout the day. And I waited as long as possible to get out of bed. And when you do that, do you think it's your best self getting out of bed when you roll out, throw some clothes on, and get to job barely on time? And your best self is the one you need to be present in order to change your situation. Wake up and go to sleep on your own terms. Don't live on the run or under the covers in hiding from your job. Go out and face it. Go to sleep at a decent hour so that you can get up and be your best self. And another thing I want to say as a little addendum to this one is to, in the morning when you wake up early, well before you need to go to work, do something that's contributing to the future that you want. Take some time out to do it so that you go into that meaningless job knowing that you've already contributed to meaning and purpose in life. It'll make the day go smoother. It'll make you feel better about yourself, which is half the problem that these dumb jobs cause. Second step is make the most of your misery. Do you know what I mean by that? I mean, stop wasting your damn money. I saw a meme the other day, said it perfectly. It said, the way to stay broke forever is to get your paycheck and buy 3 pairs of sneakers. Because we got a real problem. We want to look good better than we want to actually feel good. We want to look good more than we actually want to feel good. We're trading our time and our energy and doing this labor to get a paycheck, and then we're spending it on something that's going to deteriorate anyway instead of the betterment of our actual selves. Make the most of your misery. I mean, save your money. I mean, invest it in your future. I mean, use it to promote a post on Instagram, to expose your brand and your product and your services to more people than would have seen it naturally. You can do this for as little as $5 a day, I think. It's not, oh my God. What's a one pair of Jordans cost? $200? Some, probably on the cheap side. I don't even know anymore. Lord have mercy. Do you know how much you could do for yourself with that? How much you can do for your business, how much you can do for the goal that you said you have, that you said means something to you. Make the most of your misery. Because as long as you're spending it on clothes and shoes and Chili's and Outback Steakhouse and whatever it is that you like, video games, whatever the case, buying outfits for a video game character on 2K, as long as that's where your money is going, you're going to have to go back to your dumb job because you're not diverting any of it on a different path. You're just spending it in the same broken cycle that you hate and that makes you hate yourself. And the last step number three to surviving your dumb job and getting on the path to weaning yourself off of it is to set a deadline and keep it. So this is where the rubber meets the road, because you can do the other two. You could do the other two and never make a move if you don't set a deadline, because nothing really gets done unless you set a deadline, does it? Do you think if Verizon, AT&T, your cell phone companies, T-Mobile, Sprint. If they did not enforce a hard deadline, how many of you would you pay your bills? Would your bills be paid? They are forcing you. They are forcing you to pay those bills, to pay what you owe to them by setting a hard deadline. And you know, if you disrespect the deadline, you know they're going to cut off your phone. Why don't you have as much respect for your dreams and your goals as you do for the standards that AT&T and Verizon set for themselves? Because they don't let anybody disrespect their product. They say, this is when you're going to pay me. When are you going to demand something from yourself? When are you going to stop disrespecting your dream? When are you going to say, if you don't do this, by then something's happening to you? When are you going to put yourself on punishment for not doing what you were supposed to do when you said you were going to do it? When was the last time you incurred any consequences for messing your life up? For getting in the way of your dreams? You need to start respecting yourself. And you need to set deadlines, because without them, nobody does anything. There's no pressure. People act like the point of life is to escape pressure. No, it's not. It's to have the right balance of pressure. I don't want to escape pressure. I want the exact right amount of pressure. I don't want enough pressure to kill me, but I want the kind of pressure that makes diamonds. So put some pressure on yourself. Make a deadline. For what? For when you're going to leave your dumb job. Put some pressure on yourself, because apparently there's not enough. And look, I'm not one who's just going to sit here and tell you something unless I'm going to live it, unless I'm going to do it. I talked to my wife today. I told her I'm working a dumb job right now. And I'm learning how to monetize what I'm doing here, talking to you today. But this job has got me on some other stuff, man. And I'm just at the point where I said to her, look, if I'm going to do something I don't want to do for any period of time, it's got to be for twice as much money as this. Twice as much as what I'm getting paid at this dumb job, until I figure out how to make a living using my actual most central gifts and talents and walking in my purpose. So I told her, I said, my last day at the dumb job that I have right now is Friday, November 19th, 2021. Friday, November 19th, 2021. And I had to say it in public because I had to create some pressure. Because right now I don't have enough pressure on me because I'm not doing enough. So here it is. Hold me accountable. November 19th, 2021. Did I quit my dumb job yet? Because I just can't do what I'm doing right now anymore while I'm talking to you guys the way I'm talking to you right now. In order to maintain my credibility, and I believe your credibility and your reputation is as good as gold, and later interaction with it can be exchanged for gold or for money, I've got to do this. And even if it's to go to something else that isn't my purpose, I'm getting closer to my purpose in this next move, and I'm going to get paid twice as much as I get paid right now, and I'll do what I have to do to be able to earn that. In the meantime, I'm not letting this go. I made a commitment several episodes ago. I said I'm not expecting a dime from doing this until I have 100 episodes under my belt. Now, if the money starts flowing in, no way I'm denying it. But here's what I'm saying. I'm committed. I've got a commitment and a deadline. That means something. It's public. People who I know personally know about it, and people who I don't know about it. But I'm hoping to inspire you, to show you that these are the things that you've got to do if you ever want to get out of the 9-to-5 nightmare and to work your dream for a living. Step 1, wake up and go to sleep on your own terms. Number 2, make the most of your misery. Stop wasting your money. Save it up. Spend it on the venture that is going to transform your life into what you believe it's supposed to be. And step number 3, give yourself a deadline. Respect your dreams as much as your school teachers respect their assignments, and as much as your phone company and all your other service providers respect their need to get paid. My name is Najee Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast. The The only reason I'm doing a podcast about getting out of dumb, stupid, meaningless 9-to-5s and learning to do work that has meaning to you is because I find this message to be supremely meaningful. At every job I've ever had, I've never felt like it was the right place. I've been at places and I've been promoted faster than other people, and it meant nothing to me. And it's not because I'm ungrateful, because I appreciate the fact that I've been able to make a living. But I just always knew there was more to life than that. And if you're listening to the third segment of the podcast where we're winding down, you are somebody who's like me. You're somebody who gets that. And I'm just here to tell you, never give up. Never give up. But I want to define what not giving up means. It doesn't mean don't stop hoping alone. You can't stop hoping, but there's a lot of other things you can't stop doing either. You can't stop learning. You can't stop being determined to find out what it is that you don't know that is keeping you from transforming your life to the way that it ought to be. You cannot stop your efforts. You can't stop being consistent. There's that song by Journey, Don't Stop Believing. That's just the first part. Yeah, don't stop believing. But there's a whole lot of other stuff that you probably have to start doing if you ever want this to really go down for you. And you've got to take risks, and it can't just be a dream and a hope in your heart and your head. Oh, I respect Walt Disney so much, but Walt Disney's a lie. He said a dream is a wish what your heart makes when you're fast asleep. Or he said, what is it? What is it that he said? Something about, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Everything your heart desires will come to you. That's a bold-faced lie. That man was crazy for saying that. That man built an empire of his dreams, but I tell you, he was more of a harder worker than probably anybody you or I have ever met. So this can't just be a dream and a hope and a wish and something you have positive feelings and you're shooting out positive vibes about. Like, no. The rubber has got to meet the road every day. Risks have to be taken. Financial risks, yes, but also social risks. You have to be able to endure people perhaps knowing what you're trying to do and seeing that you're not able to do it at the level you want to do it yet. And I've got one tip to help you bear with that. Nobody cares. They don't care. They're trying to fulfill their dreams. They're trying to make their living. And anybody who's spending their time talking about you and your pursuits and how you're not doing it yet is a loser, or at least they're being loserly in that moment. So keep going, keep striving, because it is of paramount importance that you don't give up. Pray to the Father in heaven. Ask him what he wants you to do and commit yourself to seeing it through. My name is Najee Simmons, and this is the No Job Podcast. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you know by now you're appreciated, but I'm never going to stop saying that. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. If you found this video valuable, and I assume you did if you're still here, please subscribe, whether on YouTube or your podcast platform, so you always know when we're releasing new content, new episodes, new shows coming at you. Talk to you next time.